businesses in the Canada-India Economic Corridor. Diwali celebrates light, and we want to shine a spotlight on incredible people, organizations, and companies that strengthen Canada-India ties. Each award recognizes excellence, commitment, and service between our two great nations. The Canada-India Business Council and our amazing sponsors welcome you to the 2020 Diwali Awards.
Happy Diwali. We usually come together to celebrate Diwali in person, the annual festival of triumph of light over darkness. We would normally be meeting right now in Toronto at the Arcadian Court or the Shangri-La Hotel. In fact, we have been privileged to host this annual Diwali Gala and Awards now for 17 years, bringing together key leaders to convene around Diwali and also getting a chance to celebrate individuals, businesses, and organizations that contribute to the Canada-India economic relationship. Today, we're celebrating 4 awards, which include Member of the Year, the Roy McLaren Humanitarian Award, the Thomas Bata Corporate of the Year Award, and our first ever Global Service Award. We also have 4 fabulous leaders presenting these awards and introducing our honorees. We have our 2 excellent consul generals from our 2 financial capitals in both Canada and India, a great friend and collaborator of the Council, the President and CEO of the Business Council of Canada, and our amazing Chair of the Board of the Canada-India Business Council, who brings decades of working experience between our 2 great countries. Today, we're celebrating an Indian company creating tech innovation and is experiencing massive growth in Canada and contributes so much to the Council. Today, we're celebrating an organization championing the empowerment of young women across the G20. Today, we're celebrating a global Canadian company taking natural resources to the Indian market, which it so needs for the growth of India. And today, we're celebrating a tireless community leader uniting the Indian diaspora globally to do more to help others. Each recipient meaningfully adds to the momentum of the Canada-India relationship. Thank you for joining us. We are honored that you are here. Welcome to the 2020 Diwali Awards. First up, our Consul General, Annie Dubé.
Thank you so much for having me. I am delighted to be with all of you to celebrate Diwali, even apart. And I'm honored to present the Canada-India Business Council Member of the Year Award. Over the last few years, the Canada-India Business Council has taken the Canada-India story to communities across Canada, where they held many business roundtables. And just in the last 2 years, they went from Victoria to Halifax, stopping in Calgary and Saskatoon, and making their way via Waterloo and Montreal. And at these roundtables, they had leading Canadian and Indian companies, providing practical business guidance and insights. One of the Indian companies that has been a constant presence at these roundtables is Paytm Labs Canada. In many ways, the global rise of Paytm is emblematic of the thriving startup ecosystem coming from India. Paytm is one of India's most notable unicorns, and their presence in Canada is an affirmation of the great access to talent they are able to find in this country. Over the last few years, Paytm Labs has rapidly increased their talent pool in Canada and has now over 150 employees. Paytm Labs has been a tireless supporter of the Council in their participation in the business roundtables I just mentioned, but also with briefings for senior government officials and in opening their powerful networks in India to the benefit of Council members. Paytm Canada is an exemplary member, and the Council is honored to be affiliated with them. And I am delighted to present this year's Member Award to Mr. Harinder Thakkar, CEO of Paytm Labs, for his superb support in advancing the mission of the Canada-India Business Council, and if I may say, advancing the Canada-India bilateral relationships. Congratulations. Félicitations.
Hi, this is Harinder from Paytm. Thank you so much, Consul General Dubey, and thank you everybody at CIBC for choosing Paytm to be the Member of the Year. It's been an honor, and I say a very warm thank you from everybody here at Paytm. We've been associated with CIBC since 2017, earlier with Kasi and now with Mr. Victor Thomas. And I'm very impressed and very hopeful when I sort of contrast where we have come in the last 5 years since Paytm has been in Canada. So Paytm, as you guys know, has been around the block for about 12 years. We are part of a parent company that's been there since 20 years. But all of this time, we were pretty much in India. That was our mothership. And we did go out of India, but that was mostly for sales opportunities. I think Canada was the first place which made us ask the question, why not have another anchor for ourselves in a country that is outside of our home country? And I'm very glad today, like today is 2020, nearly the end of 2020, 5 years later. I think I'm very glad and very fortunate that we chose Canada for that. It was not something that we had planned. We honestly did not go country hopping to find out which country would be the best one for us to begin with. We actually found Canada when we were not even looking. And I'm so glad we did. Canada for us has become a very pivotal hub for so many things that we do across the company. In the beginning, we wanted to do artificial intelligence and machine learning sort of things. And we found Canada to be a very good hub for talent. And honestly, it's been pretty successful. We build our fraud systems out of this place. We build recommendation systems out of the office here in Canada. And I think what gives me the greatest pride is not just building this cool technology out of this place, but also being able to export it. And yes, that is true. We export a lot of our technology as Paytm, the ones that we have built out of Canada, to other places. And one very interesting example of that is our partnership in Japan. We actually export QR code payment technology to Japan. I mean, think of it. QR codes were invented in Japan. But here we are. The next generation of QR codes, whatever they mean for the payment industry, are being built out of Canada and exported to countries like Japan. I think this is a very good example for small growing companies to consider, to evaluate Canada as one of the options from which they could expand their business. The unique thing about Canada, I find, is that it is such a respected brand. When you say you're from Canada, you are not treated like just from any other country. This is a place that allows you a lot of doors to be open for you. And I love the support that a company like ours has actually received from all levels of the government. It's not funny. We would not have had such a welcome with open arms in this country as we would have probably imagined anywhere else. So I think I want to thank everybody once again for giving us the opportunity. Paytm in Canada has just started. We are about 150 people, and despite the pandemic, we have growth plans. We want to become even bigger this year and serve not only our parent country, India, and Japan, but also other countries in the years to come. And I really want to thank everybody at CIBC for connecting these two countries together, for bringing us closer. And you should consider us as one of those grateful companies. And we will be very happy to become an ambassador of Canada and the CIBC for bringing these two countries together and to help other companies leverage the strengths of both these places as well. So once again, thank you very much. It's an honor. It's a new world in which we are living. I'm recording this from my home. I hope that all of you are safe and healthy and continue to be so. And look forward to meeting every one of you in person at some point when the pandemic allows us to. Thank you so much. Bye.
Namaskar, I'm delighted to be here for the virtual Diwali Gala and Awards being organized by Canada India Business Council. Before I announce the Roy McLaren Humanitarian of the Year awardee, I would like to congratulate CIBC for the commendable work they have been doing in strengthening trade relations between India and Canada. In India, just before Diwali, we celebrate the festival of Navratri. Navratri, like Diwali, celebrates the victory of good over evil and light over darkness. But more than anything else, it is the celebration of women. Women who are believed to be an incarnation of Shakti, the goddess of power. On this auspicious occasion of Navratri and Diwali, it couldn't be more apt that this year's awardee is a woman or a group of women. It gives me a great pleasure to present the Roy McLaren Humanitarian of the Year award for the year 2020 to Girls 20. Receiving the award on behalf of the organization is Ms. Bailey Greenspan, acting co-CEO. Girls 20 is a path-breaking organization which in a space of a decade has made exceptional advances for young women around the world. Through their education and training programs, Girls 20 facilitate women to make a positive difference in their communities. They have played a pivotal role in empowering women and has brought global attention to place women at the center of the decision-making processes. The Global Summit provides a platform where young women contribute the economic and social issues facing girls and women in their respective countries to a communique which is delivered to world leaders in advance of the G20 summit. In 2022, when India will assume the chairmanship of G20, I look forward to hearing more about the work of this remarkable organization and to welcome them to India. Year 2022, incidentally, is also when India will celebrate 75 years of its independence and CIBC will complete 40 years of promoting the India-Canada Economic Corridor. Friends, when we envision success for the next generation of women leaders, when we endeavor to create a world where all women can be the best versions of themselves, where there is no glass ceilings to shatter and no glass slippers to fit in, it is only then we celebrate the trailblazing leadership of groups like Girls 20. As they mark their 10 years anniversary, I want to congratulate Girls 20 for the path-breaking work and the compelling change agenda they have initiated at the global level. May you keep on inspiring generations of women. May your tribe keep on growing. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ms. Bailey Greenspan to accept the Roy McLaren Humanitarian of the Year award on behalf of Girls 20. Congratulations and best wishes.
Hello, my name is Bailey Greenspan and I am the acting co-CEO at Girls 20. Girls 20 was launched in 2009 at the Clinton Global Initiative. Today, Girls 20 places young women at the center of decision-making processes. Through our signature programs, the Global Summit, affiliated with the G20, and Girls on Boards, we make strategic investments in young women through education and training, building networks, and access to unparalleled leadership opportunities. While advocating for change at the global level through our annual Girls 20 Global Summit, we are invested in changing the status quo for women at decision-making tables in their communities across 20 countries. My friends and colleagues, I'm here with an important reminder today that we have only 10 years left to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. At Girls 20, we are urgently pushing to achieve the 5th Sustainable Development Goal on gender equality. The UN puts it best. Gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but a necessary foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. We have seen incredible gains in gender equality in the past decade, and we should applaud that. But right now is not the time to take our foot off the gas. We now understand how girls' education and women's participation in the workforce is a necessity for economic growth and prosperity. When we educate girls, they marry later and have fewer children. Their children are healthier. These women can then enter the formal labor market and contribute to their country's growth. We know this, and yet this year, as a result of COVID-19, progress is slipping away. By the UN Secretary General's Accord, nearly 60% of women today work in the informal economy and are at greater risk right now of falling into poverty. As businesses close, millions of women's jobs have disappeared. We also know that women's unpaid care work has increased exponentially as a result of the school closures and the increased needs of older people. The UN Secretary General says, "These currents are combining as never before to defeat women's rights and deny women opportunities." This is why Girls 20 is investing directly in communities by building the leadership capabilities of young women. I want to tell you about some of the Girls 20 delegates from India and how they are transforming culture and society. I want to tell you about Risha, who at 21 years old founded Labia Foundation and is transforming education to build 21st century skills among children. Today, her program impacts over 2 million children, and she's working with 100,000 teachers in government schools across India. I can tell you about Harnid, a published author and poet who is using social media and writing to change hearts and minds about the cultural norms and stereotypes that prevent women from fully participating in society. I encourage you to read more about the Girls 20 delegates on our website, www.girls20.org, and learn about the extraordinary work they are doing to build social and economic change from the ground up. And I urge you to think about how you can empower the young women in your family, in your workplace, and in your community to fully take their seats at the table. When we invest in young women, communities and countries benefit. Girls 20 is working toward a gender equal future where young women, regardless of their backgrounds, can advocate for social change and economic progress. I want to thank the Canada-India Business Council for honoring Girls 20 with the 2020 Roy McLaren Humanitarian of the Year Award. Thank you, Victor Thomas, the Board of Directors, and the supporters of the Diwali Awards for your commitment to girls' education and leadership.
What's gonna happen to you? You have woke up too soon and found the world rearranged, and now your feelings have changed. Say goodbye to before. You are not welcome anymore. The door's been shown to you. But only as we go through, we run into the night. No sound, no vision, no sight, and no words to explain. Just mountains of change. What's gonna happen to you? You have woke up too soon, and the world is rearranged. And now your feelings have changed. Ooh, today I saw a shadow. And I had the feeling there would be another. One in the winter time and one in the sun.
It gives me great pleasure today to join you at Diwali Awards 2020. The Canada-India relationship is a very important one. It is full of tremendous opportunity, and I feel very strongly that the future of our relationship is very bright. Frankly, we both need each other, and we both benefit from the relationship that we can have, and strengthening that relationship is key to something that we're trying to do at the Business Council of Canada. Our members, which include perhaps the unofficial ambassador, a permanent representative of Canada to India, Prem Watsa, CEO of Fairfax, and of course our pension funds and many, many other companies that have been in India for a long period of time and are looking to continue to grow their investments in this critical market. But there are many others to follow, and I know that there is an acute interest. And the partnership that we have with the Canada-India Business Council and the Business Council of Canada, we feel will only further deepen the opportunities and those relationships. And I personally, being of Indian origin, very much look forward to working with Victor Thomas and his team to make sure that we're seizing this moment. This is a very unique time in our history, and I think that the path that we can put ourselves on today is very, very critical to help both our countries, but more importantly, both our people. I know that this topic of helping our people and helping our country is particularly important to the person I have the privilege of acknowledging tonight, and that is the chair of the Business Council of Canada, Don Lindsay, who is the CEO of Tech Resources, very well known to you, I'm sure, and to the Indian community, a very big believer in the Canada-India relationship, a very big believer in trade and in multilateralism. And I'm very pleased to acknowledge that Tech Resources has received the Thomas Bata Company of the Year for their outstanding leadership in the Canada-India business environment. And it's very well deserved. As I said, Don is a person of tremendous passion. He cares deeply about his company, his people, his customers, but he cares deeply about Canada and the world. And I think it's not at all a surprise that Don is being, and his company are being recognized today with this prestigious honor. It comes because it's genuine. Don wears his heart on his sleeve, and he and the company and the values that they represent, the purpose that they have, is very much about making the world a better place. And so I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to congratulate Don and Tech Resources for this honor that you have bestowed upon them. You have chosen very wisely.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Goldie. And thank you to the Canada-India Business Council for this recognition of tech. We very much appreciate it. And thank you for the invitation to speak at your virtual Diwali Awards celebration. As you all know, the Diwali festival symbolizes the victory of light over darkness, of good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. And after the challenges we've all had to face throughout the course of 2020, and in particular the tragic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, I think we would all very much welcome that spirit of optimism and positivity as we look ahead to the future, and as we consider the opportunities in front of us to work together to build back better than ever. In that spirit, I wanted to start by providing some background on who Tech is and the important links between our company and the growth and development of India. Tech is Canada's largest diversified resource company. We were founded in Canada and are headquartered right here in Vancouver. For over 100 years, Tech has been committed to responsible mining and mineral development. And today, we have 11 active operations across North and South America, producing copper, steelmaking coal, zinc, and energy. And as a producer of these fundamental building block materials, we have a long and deep connection with growing Asian economies. And because of that connection, I always look forward to opportunities to talk to the membership of the Canada-India Business Council about tech and the opportunities that we see ahead. For close to 40 years, the Canada-India Business Council has been linking businesses and investors between these two nations. And it's remarkable to reflect on how much has changed in both India and Canada over that time. Today, India and Canada are more closely linked than ever, both culturally and economically. And that connection is only going to get stronger in the years ahead as India continues to grow and develop. And metals and minerals provided by companies like Tech are going to be essential to fuel that growth. In fact, mining has been a key driver of human progress since the dawn of civilization. The Stone Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, entire eras of humanity have been defined by the materials that we mined. And in just the last century alone, billions of people have been lifted out of poverty because of advancements made possible by vast amounts of mined products and the commodities derived from them like copper, steel, and others. Metals and minerals are the bones of our modern world. Society doesn't advance, it doesn't grow, and it doesn't improve without mining. Every aspect of our world today, from modern healthcare to infrastructure to telecommunications, is only possible because it is built atop a foundation of metal and mineral products. At the beginning of the 20th century, about 85% of the world's population lived in poverty. Today, that number is less than 10%. This remarkable accomplishment is directly correlated with mining and the economic growth it enables. Let's look at a few examples. While the world was being lifted out of poverty, copper production increased about 40-fold. and steel production increased nearly 60-fold. Copper use alone is considered a barometer of the standard of living and is closely linked with a country's economic development. Each person in North America will require about 2.5 metric tons of copper over their lifetime. And that is about 8 times more copper than our great-grandparents would have used. In fact, people today living in heavily developed nations like the US and Japan, they use over 5 kilograms of copper per person per year. Now compare that to India with average copper use of less than 0.5 kilogram per person per year. But as India grows and modernizes further, that number will have to increase in tandem. Or consider urbanization. India is the most rapidly urbanizing nation in the world. The Indian housing minister recently said that 40% of India's population are expected to live in urban centers by the year 2030. Housing this growing urban population will require construction of between 600 to 800 million square meters of urban space every year from now until then in 2030. And to put that in context, if you were to put that much square footage into a single skyscraper, you'd have a building 1,000 kilometers tall, not 1,000 meters tall, 1,000 kilometers tall, and that is more than twice as high as the orbit of the International Space Station. And India needs to build the equivalent of one of those every single year for the next decade. Think of the infrastructure demand that kind of urbanization drives, and the materials that will be required to achieve it. Iron, metallurgical coal, and zinc for the steel to build high-density housing, railways, bridges, and rapid transit. And then there's copper for wiring and plumbing. That growth will also require major new electrical transmission and generation. And India, in fact, has emerged as a global clean energy champion. India already stands 5th in the world for installed renewable energy capacity, with solar power alone growing by more than 11 times over the last 5 years. Today, about 36% of India's power supply is already renewable. Their Minister of New and Renewable Energy has vowed to significantly build on that, targeting a goal of 60% renewable power by 2030. So why does that matter? Because the key ingredient for wind, solar, and other renewable energy systems is, of course, metal. Renewable power systems can require 12 times as much copper as non-renewable. A single solar panel requires 19 different mineral products and metals. And power supply is really just the tip of the iceberg. India is also a young nation demographically. It has more people under 25 than any other country. And those young people are growing up in the information age. The digital connectivity that they demand relies entirely on mined materials. You know, people talk a lot about the cloud these days, but the fact is, the cloud is made of metal. Please tell me you all knew that. Your photos, your videos, and your emails are not stored in the air. They are firmly grounded in the products of the earth. Data servers with miles of copper for wiring and power transmission, lithium for portable batteries, gold for connectors, and then there's an army of rare earth minerals. In response to all of this need for new technology and new infrastructure, India has ramped up its industrial output. Now let's look at steel. India has massively increased domestic steelmaking capacity in recent years, rising to become the world's second largest steel producing nation after China. India is in fact the world's new steel tiger, and they're just getting started. Last year, India produced over 111 million tons of steel, and the Indian Ministry of Steel has set a target of increasing their steel production capacity to 300 million tons by 2030, all to meet the growing demand for hospitals, schools, housing, transportation infrastructure, and more. And as the world's second largest exporter of seaborne steelmaking coal, Teck is helping fuel India's growing steelmaking industry. We began selling our steelmaking coal, which comes from mines right here in BC, to India in 2011. And in that year, our sales reached close to 300,000 tons. But since then, we've grown that number by about 15-fold to over 4.5 million. India now is one of the largest markets for our steelmaking coal, larger than China, and it accounts for about 15% of our sales in 2019. In other aspects of our lives, beyond economic growth and development, however, the vital role of mining and metals may be sometimes harder to spot. But when you look deeper, minerals provide other essential benefits to society and to human health, which are often forgotten. And let me give you a stark statistic. The cause of death, one of the leading causes of death for children under the age of 5, is in fact diarrhea. And there are over 100,000 child deaths in India from diarrhea every year. But these deaths are preventable. And that's because the key to curing diarrhea is something rather simple and inexpensive. It's zinc. Now, it's not well known, but zinc is an essential micronutrient that is crucial for healthy growth and brain development particularly for children under the age of 2. Zinc strengthens the immune system, and it helps fight dangerous infection. And Teck is one of the world's largest producers of zinc. And when we learned that there were serious challenges in scaling up the use of zinc in India to save children's lives, we partnered with UNICEF to help make a real change. We developed a 5-year project starting in 2013 to address those challenges and to get zinc and oil rehydration salts to the children. In 2017, I traveled to some of the poorest communities of Uttar Pradesh to see the progress of this partnership firsthand. I met community mobilization coordinators and some of the mothers and children they are working with to support the preparation of zinc and oil rehydration salts and to provide training on breastfeeding and counseling on hand washing and more. And today, thanks to our partnership, more than 100,000 children's lives have been saved in India. And more than 3.4 million mothers have learned about the importance of zinc and ORS treatments, as well as more than 150,000 female health workers. Annual child mortality rates from diarrhea have now been cut in half, decreasing from 200,000 per year in 2013 to about 100,000 per year today. And that's something I'm incredibly proud of, as we all are at Teck, and our work continues to further these efforts. That strong connection between our company and India and the long-standing ties that the Canada-India Business Council helps foster between our nations have and will continue to be essential to prosperity and opportunity for both our countries. But we all know that the impact of COVID-19 has sent a painful jolt through communities and economies globally, and that India has been particularly hard hit. Today, there are hopeful signs of a possible V-shaped recovery in recent economic indicators. Manufacturing PMI reached its highest level in 8 years just last month after plunging in April. And automobile sales are now rebounding. But there's no question the effects of the pandemic will be felt for a long time to come, both in the terrible impact on individuals and families directly affected by the virus, and in the setback caused to India's journey of economic growth and improving quality of life for citizens. But that journey will continue, and now more than ever, it will need the support that comes through collaboration between our nations and the business connections that help to provide the resources needed for India's transformation. This work is essential because it holds the promise of improving the lives of literally hundreds of millions of people in the world's fastest growing economy and its largest democracy. Together, we can build back better from COVID-19, both in India and Canada. And we will continue to strengthen our relationships, we will create new growth, and we will foster shared prosperity that spans the Pacific. We will rise to the spirit of Diwali and contribute to that victory of light over darkness for the benefit of everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dawn, for those remarks. And congratulations again to Tech Resources for being selected as the Thomas Bata Business of the Year. As the chair of the Canada-India Business Council, it is now my great pleasure to present our first ever Global Service Award. I'm delighted to announce that our inaugural recipient is MR Rangaswami. As many of you will know, he's more popularly known as MR. Let me start by saying that as a software executive, investor, entrepreneur, corporate eco-strategy expert, community builder, and philanthropist, MR has positively impacted countless people, and his leadership has transformed the way business is done. MR was brought up in Chennai and arrived in the United States as a university student. Early on, MR was recognized as a software business expert. He participated in the rapid expansion of the Silicon Valley software industry. During his tenure as an executive in both large and small companies, including Oracle and Bond. In 1997, he founded Sandhill Group. Sandhill was one of the earliest angel investors in Silicon Valley. And MR was profiled on the front page of the Wall Street Journal as a result. Forbes named MR to its Midas list of the world's best venture capitalist investors. In 2007, MR embarked on a new venture with a very different purpose. It is the Corporate Eco Forum, an invitation-only membership organization for global 500 companies that demonstrate a serious commitment to the environment as a business strategy issue. Its members now represent more than 20 industries and have combined revenues of over US $4 trillion. CEF, as it is known, has been a leader in the field of corporate sustainability and in fomenting eco-innovation. But MR didn't stop with those achievements. In 2012, he founded Indiaspora, a nonprofit organization which was established to transform the success of the Indian diaspora into meaningful impact in India and worldwide. Most of you will know Indiaspora very well. Its members form a powerful network of global leaders from diverse backgrounds who are committed to building stronger communities with a culture of giving and inspiring social change. Among other things, Indiaspora hosts events and connects people with the goal of fomenting collective action. In its events, Indiaspora has risen above national politics in the United States and has hosted events with such diverse speakers as Ambassador Nikki Haley and US Vice Presidential hopeful Kamala Harris. Indiaspora not only connects the Indian diaspora, but also advances philanthropy by encouraging giving to worthy causes within the communities where it's established, as well as in India itself. Last year, for example, on Mahatma Gandhi's birthday, which you will know is October the 2nd, Indiaspora launched Chalo Give, which means common give. This is a novel initiative which seeks to unlock private giving to enhance the public good. MR has been widely quoted as saying, "Giving back is what I enjoy the most, as well as connecting people without expecting anything back." In Canada, the Indian diaspora is a vibrant community of more than 1.5 million people in a population of nearly 38 million. Measured per capita, the Canadian Indian diaspora is the largest among the G7 countries. In Canada, the Indian diaspora has made a vital contribution in the fields of business, government, academia, and philanthropy. For us at the Canada-India Business Council, Indiaspora has been a superb collaborator. MR has spoken at our business summits in Vancouver in 2019 and in Toronto in 2018. In October 2018, he led a US delegation to Toronto and Ottawa, and we at the Council were honored to host and collaborate with him. MR draws on the phenomenal reach of the Indian diaspora, inspiring and mobilizing ideas into action. As the founder and chair of Indiaspora, MR has taken an idea and given it shape in the most meaningful way. He shows everyone that to give is to get. He demonstrates what is possible when leaders focus their time, talent, and resources to serve others. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing our 2020 Global Awards recipient, MR Rangaswamy. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you to CIBC, the Canada-India Business Council, to the chair, Patricia Koval, and to the president and CEO, Victor Thomas. Thank you so much. I'm deeply honored to get this service award from your prestigious organization. Happy Diwali to everyone in Canada and all over the world. And for those from Southern India, happy Deepavali. It's an auspicious time for all of us to kind of get out of the darkness that's fallen upon us with COVID and other issues. So what is service all about? In India, we call it seva. It's a Sanskrit word that says selfless service. And this is built into the ethos of Indians worldwide. Again, I don't think I have done selfless service to get this award, but let me take you on my journey, and hopefully that'll make an impact on all of you as well. I grew up in a middle-class family in Chennai, came to the United States when I was 21 to do my MBA. And then I had a comfortable job in Houston, Texas. But one day, a consultant changed my life. He said, with my background and my skills in computers, that I should be moving to a place called Silicon Valley. This was an amazing time. It was 1982, when nobody really understood what Silicon Valley was, and there was no technology that connected the entire world. I took that risk, and so I called myself the accidental tourist, because that was not the destination I was set to go to. But I moved to Silicon Valley in 82, and like many people there, took a risk by joining a startup. Of course, the startup did great for a couple of years, and then it failed. I then went to a larger company called Oracle, where I spent 4 years when the company doubled and did extremely well. But my urge was still to do a startup, and my goal was to be independent, not retire, but to be independent by age 40. So I did my next startup, and sure enough, it failed. And these are stories that are very similar to many, many people in Silicon Valley. But many of us don't give up after a couple of failures. So I tried again a third time, and this time I got lucky and I was successful. And my goal was to retire, sorry, that was a Freudian slip, to be independent at 40, but I achieved that at 41. At that time, I then wanted to start the next phase in my career. I didn't know what that quite was, but initially I took a day job, which is becoming an angel investor and a pioneer in that field in the mid-90s. That was really not a job. I had to meet with startups and CEOs. But my passion was to build communities and networks. And the first one that grabbed my attention was my own tech network. In my career in the tech industry, I had gathered 4,000 business cards. These might seem antique these days, but this was how you did business in the 1990s before LinkedIn and Facebook and all the social media that we have here today. So my job was to look and see, how do I connect with these 4,000 people? And there was no easy way. So I set about to start what has become a community, and this was called Enterprise. And the enterprise is the B2B software industry in the United States and worldwide. What I did was I got the CEOs of all these companies together at the Enterprise Retreat. Again, this might seem like a conference, but really it was a community. Everybody paid, including keynotes, had to pay the conference fee, and we gave away all the surplus to nonprofits that were around the technology industry. This was how I got started in the world of service. We got the CEOs together to meet the CEOs of these successful companies. They not only got money, but they got mentorship, advice, and more money from these companies. So this network I started was in 1998, and I ran that for 10 years. And over that 10-year period, we gave dozens of nonprofits funding, mentorship, and help, and gave away over $1 million of profits from this conference. Then in 2007, I took a pause with this because the market had changed to more business to consumers, and that was not my area of expertise. At that time, I had 2 young kids, 2 daughters, and I wanted to be a good role model for them. And when friends of mine said, why don't you take your hand at doing something for the green and clean industry, I jumped into that as an entrepreneur. Talked to over 100 different Fortune 500 executives to find out what their issues were in this space. I ended up creating my second community that could make an impact, and this was called the Corporate Eco Forum. The Corporate Eco Forum is now a membership group of 70 of the world's largest companies. These include companies like Amazon, TD Bank, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, as well as companies like Disney and UPS, Ford and General Motors, and all the other big brands. And we get together to really work on climate change, issues dealing with climate change, like greenhouse gas reductions, increasing renewable energies purchases, as well as getting to sustainable supply chains. So again, this is the second community that I started to make an impact that I thought I could contribute to. And then more recently, about 8 years ago, I had been going back and forth to India to help the tech community in India to really set up the largest tech entrepreneurship conference in India called the Product Conclave. I worked with an organization there called NASCOM to create this effort. And today it's got over 2,500 entrepreneurs in the network, really becoming tech entrepreneurs in India and building the tech industry as we know it in the United States and Silicon Valley. As I was doing that, I was really curious to see what the Indian American community was doing, in a sense that how could I help this community? Obviously, there were dozens and dozens of organizations in our community, and I didn't want to start a Me Too organization. So I talked to over 100 community leaders in the diaspora here to find out what I could be doing to help the community. And that was the genesis of Indiaspora. And so when I consulted with all these leaders in the community, 3 issues came upon us that we could take on that was not overlapping with other communities, other organizations. The first one, the first pillar of Indiaspora, was to get Indian Americans to be politically engaged. As you know, in Canada, you've done a fantastic job of that. But in 2012, even though Indians represented 1% of the US population, we had 0 representation in the US Congress. So one of the audacious goals was to see how quickly we could become 1% of the US Congress. So our entire network and the entire community of Indians gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to anybody with an Indian name, whether it's Khanna or Krishnamurthy or Jaipal. We contributed generously to their campaigns. And in 2017, we were able to achieve that goal, which seemed so far away, which was to become 1% of the US Congress. And we had a big celebration. We also encourage Indian Americans to be active in any political party they choose. Indiaspora is nonpartisan and does not give money or endorse any political party or candidate. But our community has become very active. In fact, it's so inspiring to see that this year in the elections in the United States, we estimate there are 200 to 300 Indians running for office, everywhere from city council to mayor. You know, we are really trying to catch up with all of you in Canada, where you have so many people engaged in the political system. And so was our first foray, was to get our community engaged. The second one is to really get deeply involved in community issues. For example, Diwali. You already have a stamp in Canada for Diwali many, many years ago. But the United States, till 2016, didn't even recognize Diwali as a holiday by having a stamp for it. This holiday, as you well know, celebrated by over 1 billion people worldwide. So Indiaspora took an effort of including a meeting with the president of the US, introducing symbolic legislation in the US Congress, as well as a grassroots campaign that resulted in writing 20,000 letters to the US Postmaster General in order to get a stamp. And I'm happy to say that in 2016, we were given that gift. And so Diwali is now a mainstream holiday and festival here in the United States. We have also recently gotten very engaged and involved in the Black Lives Matter movement to really condemn systemic racism, to really do our part as a community of color to help our brothers and sisters within the Black community as well. Our third pillar is philanthropy. And this is something we have a lot more work to do. Indian Americans and the diaspora can contribute a lot more. As you know, the Indian American diaspora is the most affluent in the United States, makes over $120,000 income a year, and we owe it to give back more to both where we live in the US as well as to our homeland in India. So Indiaspora really has a philanthropy summit that we conduct each year with donors, nonprofits, and foundations to really highlight all the issues with philanthropy in our community and to get people to be giving. We also have a program called Chalo Give, We hope that this program will also come to Canada in the future. And Chalo Give is an online campaign to motivate and inspire our community to give even $10, $20, $50 to a nonprofit of their choice. And this is the third year we've done it, and it's a very, very successful campaign we hope to bring again next year. We also have a program to help all the nonprofits of Indian origin. It's called the India Philanthropy Alliance, and right now it's a group of 15 different NGOs that have a base in the US, but focus their giving to India. So these are some of the ways we've improved philanthropy and the giving of Indian Americans, and we hope to really make this a worldwide movement to bring it to diaspora across the globe. And our audacious goal at Indiaspora is to double the giving of the diaspora in the years to come. And ladies and gentlemen, I think together we can do that. We can show the world we're the most giving community, both where we live and also to our homeland in India. So the other thing we've now done in India, and that's why we've gotten to know all of you in Canada much better, is Indiaspora has a program to connect the global diaspora. We believe there are at least 5 diasporas. There are a total of 30 million people of Indian origin outside of India, and there are 5 big diasporas: the US, Canada, UK, Singapore, and Dubai. So our initial focus is to connect the diasporas in these 5 countries. And in that regard, we were so happy to come to Canada a couple of years ago and be warmly received by all of you in Toronto and Ottawa and in Vancouver as well. In fact, we met with all the 4 ministers of Indian origin in Mr. Trudeau's cabinet, and we had a reception given to us on Parliament Hill. And so we've started this great relationship with the Canadian diaspora. We also have a great relationship now with the diaspora in the UK. We had a reception in the Houses of Parliament there. We also are reaching out to other diasporas worldwide. We also have a strong connect to India. We do an India-US program whenever a leader from India comes to the US or a US leader goes to India. And we have a great bridge, and we are the diaspora bridge between India and the US. And we hope in the future that we can also connect the various diasporas together in a much more powerful network. So how did all this happen? It wasn't a single individual. So I cannot take credit for this Global Service Award to myself. I think I owe it to my family, my wife, who has been supporting me selflessly all through our marriage, my kids who have been my inspiration, and most importantly also to the teams that I've worked with to build these communities that make an impact. So the teams at Indiaspora, I want to recognize our Executive Director, Sanjeev Joshipura, who spent over 4.5 years working selflessly with his amazing team of members to make all this happen and to put me in a position to receive this award. So once again, I'm deeply honored and flattered to Canada India Business Council for giving me this prestigious award. And I hope I'll be a great flag bearer and a torch bearer for all of you for having given the confidence in me. So thank you so much, and happy Diwali again.
Thank you so much, MR. Wow, what inspiring speeches. Congratulations again, Paytm and Harinder. We look forward to your continued support in doing events again when safe, right across the country. Congratulations, Girls 20 and Bailey, not only on this award, but a successful conference this past weekend. We can't wait to strategize with you as we move into preparation for India's G20 in 2022. Congratulations, Tech Resources. Thank you, Don. You really put into perspective how this technology, even right now that we're using, really works and what is actually needed to run it. We need more great Canadian companies taking your lead and doing more with India. Congratulations, MR. Sir, it is truly amazing what all you've done. Thank you for accepting our first ever Global Service Award, and we look forward to collaborating even further on the diaspora and economic opportunities. Thank you also to Sanjeev and the entire Indiaspora team. Thank you also to Consul Generals Annie and Apurva. Thank you to Goldie and Chair Patricia. And of course, we could not do this without the gracious support of our sponsors who are with us even through a pandemic. Thank you to Air Canada, thank you to BMO, and thank you to Invest in Canada. also Bombardier, CPP Investments, Global Affairs, and OMERS. Next year, we hope to be back in downtown Toronto, but our next event will be virtual, and it will be our Mumbai Forum, which is on Thursday, December 3rd. Please stay tuned. Thank you so much for participating today, and happy Diwali.